All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Alchemy Podcast. I am extra excited for today's podcast with my boy, Jordan Lewis.
Good to be here, Doug. Thanks for having me.
So, Jordan, what's interesting about our relationship is, like, I think we both, like, know we've kind of worked at the same Vivint for a while. Yeah. We know each other. It feels like there's, like, a mutual respect there.
Yeah.
But we've never really, like, broed down.
Yeah, honestly, I thought that. I'm like, we've been, like, industry adjacent since I mean, I'm sure the guys know, but you were the man when I started. It was Doug Cartwright, like the man at Vivint, and I kind of cut my teeth and learned from you as I went. But we crossed paths here and there. We've done a couple events together, but I'm excited for this. Sit down and chat.
Yeah, we never worked together.
Yeah,
you know, we were always adjacent, and I always kind of knew your name from afar at Vivint. But one thing from my perspective that I really admire and respect about you is that it seems like if Vivint could, like, make someone their journey, like, highlight someone's journey in the company to, like, you know, inspire people of what's possible. Like, you started out as just like a normal rep, very kind of basic, and just chipped away and chipped away and chipped away and really committed to the process. And now, you know, as like a regional, like you literally, like, did the Vivint dream.
Yeah. I pinch myself every morning right now, kind of looking back over my 13-year career. Again, if you look at my resume, this is my only job. It's like, what have you done? It's like, I worked at Vivint.
The whole time.
And they pitched me on a vision in 2013, and I believed it, and I plugged in, and here we are in 2025, and I can't believe the life I live and what it's done for me. I love it.
Yeah, like, your journey reminds me of the quote where it says, consistency beats intensity every time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's all been about. It's, you know, every year has been better and better, but it's just, I show up, keep doing it. They kind of, again, they give you the playbook when you start if you want to make this a career. And I never had any intent to be a career door-to-door salesman, but here I am, and I have more pride in it than anyone. I love what I do. I love who I work with. And I love my company as well as the industry. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's cool too, because it's like you never jump ship. You never got, like, some big sign-on bonus. You see guys kind of always kind of looking for grass is greener mentality, or like, how can I leverage my position and get a sign-on bonus and go over here and chase this thing. And, you know, it's just like feels very blue collar, you know, lunch pal, you know, I'm going to go chip away at this thing. And now, I mean, how many counts are you guys on track to do this year?
I mean, we hit our halfway mark yesterday. I put up the numbers. We're tracking to, again, at Vivint, there's different levels. The partner level is at 12,000 accounts, and we should clear that by end of August. So, crazy. You know, next step is partner. But so we should clear over 12,000. And again, zero credit to me. I always tell my guys I'm kind of a glorified social media manager, and I just go out and hype them up. It's all them. I love watching the process, and what Vivint did for me, I'm able to just kind of instill in my people and say it can do for every one of you too. And we're watching it happen in lives of hundreds of reps. And I love that. Yeah.
And one thing too that I really appreciate you too, Jordan, is you spoke at the Alchemy event 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the energy, you just have, like, every time I interact with you, you have, like, this upbeat, enthusiastic, like, higher vibrational energy. And you did, like, some sales training, and, you know, one of the reels we posted, like, went kind of viral, you know, on Instagram. And it's just, you bring, like, this very powerful, forceful energy. Is that something that you, like, learned how to bring, or is it more of, like, just kind of natural in your DNA?
You know, unfortunately, I wish I could tell you I learned it, but that's who I am. I am, actually, ironically enough, if I was at a funeral this weekend, and kind of we were it was a family friend. The dad passed away, and anyway, they were just talking about kind of how to remember this individual, and I had a moment of introspection where I thought, if I could, you know, if I died, what would I want to be remembered for? And kind of 3 words came to my mind, and it's number one is passion. That's, like, in my bones, and I'm a textbook extrovert. You get me around people, and it's like a drug to me. I love being around people. I love talking. I love interacting. I love being in front of crowds. I don't try to steal the limelight, but I like borrowing it for a little bit. So it just kind of fires me up. as well, it plays into, if I think passionate is one thing, I'm very loyal. So like when I find something I love, I stick with it. I met my wife in 3rd grade. So
you met your wife in 3rd grade?
No, keep in mind, she didn't love me back. So, hey, J. Lou, how did you become a great sales rep? Well, in 3rd grade, I met her. I'm like, yo, I got a crush on you. She's like, I like you like a brother. So I purposely put myself in the friend zone for 11 years and just chipped away at that sale over and over again. 11 years later, she's like, oh, I actually think I like you too. So like loyalty is big. I stick with something. When I started, it's like, hey, this is what I do. And then the 3rd one would probably be like persistence. I keep coming back for more. And so I think all those kind of work together, a little loyalty, a little passion, a little persistence to make me who I am. But again, I wish I could tell you I learned it from some, Toastmasters class on public speaking, but I love to talk. I love to share best practices, and I'm an open book. I got no secrets. You want to know? I'll tell you. I guess we ain't gatekeeping anything here.
Yeah. So hold on. I'll go back to your wife story. I didn't know this, right? Yeah. So meet in 3rd grade, and then said 11 years later. So what? You're probably like 18,
so technically it was 3rd grade. 3rd grade's weird because she moved in the neighborhood. She moved like 5 minutes away from me, right? And 3rd grade's that awkward time in life where like girls are taller than boys. You're kind of figuring it out, but I'm like, yo, I think that girl's real cute.
Yeah.
And so in 6th grade, we actually dated for
first girlfriend.
Well, I had a couple. I mean, it was 6th grade.
Course.
We dated for like 3 days, and then she broke up with me for my best friend, this cute little blonde hair, blue-eyed guy. And we still talk about it this day. But I realized, I'm like, hey, she's not going to like me like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep her close. I'm going to keep an eye on things. And again, maybe that sounds crazy, but it was like, hey, let's just be best friends, which I think was the catalyst to such a successful, loving relationship, because we really got to know each other. Even though there was always a romantic undertone on my end, she treated me as a best friend. So I saw her at her best and her worst. There was no like, I'm trying to impress you on dates. And then, so that was 6th grade. And then I got my mission call for the LDS church.
Where'd you go?
To Guatemala. And we opened it up, and then me and her went out actually to Gandolfo's down in Provo. She was at BYU. We went down to celebrate, and we just talked about it, and I was going to leave in 3 months. And 2 days after that experience, she's like, I think I love you. And I'm like, yo, I've been waiting 11 years for this, and now I got to leave to a foreign country for 2 years. So, I like to joke. She teases because I'm usually the one telling the story. So she's like, it always makes me look bad. But, she waited 11 years and then 2 more years for my mission. We didn't really write that much. I told her, hey, go live your life. Go do your thing. I know this is meant to be, and I know this is going to work. I'm going to go work.
So you had a lot of trust.
I had too much trust, probably. I was like, this is going to work. But it did. I got home. 3 days after I got home, I went and bought an engagement ring. I had a little tax return from a construction job that I did before my mission that came through, and that was the down payment on my ring. And we got married 3 months later, and
Wait, so you got home for 3 days?
3 days, bought the ring. I
bought
knew
the ring. You knew.
It's not like the classic Mormon Provo story. It's like, dude, I knew this girl front, back, side to side. I knew everything about her except for what it was like to be in a romantic relationship. But I loved her so much as a person and an individual that I knew the romance would be there, and it is. And so 13 years later, it's crazy because it's like I married my literal best friend, and she still is. Like, she's what I want to do everything with. It's like, anyway.
Well, it's inspiring, man, because right before we started filming, we were talking about you guys were at Coldplay, and it seems like that's like a thing you guys have, right? And
yeah, it's crazy. That was a really cool experience for us. Our senior year, she loved Coldplay. She's the one who got me into it. Like, she loved them. And she had this, she's like, oh, they're coming to Seattle is where we're from. Come in, we got to see them. And I scraped together some pennies. I'm sure I borrowed whatever, stole whatever. And I bought 2 tickets. And then we went to high school graduation together at the in Tacoma, Washington. And I snuck to her house right before she got home. And I put 2 tickets on her pillow. Me and my mom were close. So she came home from our graduation practice ceremony to see those tickets. We went for the first time I saw them. It was the Viva La Vida tour. And since then, I think we've seen them 7 or 8 times. And this last time was particularly special because we brought our 2 oldest daughters. They're 11 and 9, and let them experience what we kind of cut our teeth and fell in love with. And so it's this full circle moment. Really, I'm not trying to be cheesy, but our story is very much out of a Hollywood movie, and I own that with pride. I love what we have. I love the story we have, and the love. And so it's really cool. It's a really cool.
It seems like Mallory is like, from my perspective, from kind of watching you from afar here, is that not only do you guys have a really beautiful relationship, but she's like a major catalyst for your business growth.
Absolutely. Yeah, listen, this is a hard truth for a lot of people, but you cannot do this job long term if you don't have a partner that is bought in. Sorry to go on a little tangent here, but when I did serve my mission in Guatemala, I was in a very, I guess, indigenous heavy area. A lot of these people didn't even speak Spanish. They spoke Mayan dialects. And so there's a ton of like artistry and pictures and statues and things of like these Mayan warriors with these big headdresses and spears, and they look massive and strong, and they're ripped, and they're going to war and battle. But what's cool about almost every one of these Mayan like interpretations of a warrior is in the very bottom of these pictures or statues or whatever it is, there's always a little face in the corner. And that face represents, from what I was told, the woman. And behind within a foundation behind every strong man, every warrior, there has to be a woman who's there to help them get to that level. And you look at how hard this job is, how much travel this job is, how much sacrifice job this is. And you know that, like, I'm willing to do it. But if your spouse or your partner or whoever it is isn't, it'll never work. And part of the reason we have been able to scale this at the speed and the intensity and the rate we have is because we're both bought into vision. We know what
She's ride or die.
She is ride or die. And I love that about her.
That's really special, man. You know, and you talk about like, you know, how difficult this job is. And I know you've been kind of visiting teams.
Yeah.
By the time this podcast airs, it'll be like just barely over halfway point of the summer.
Yeah.
And you're an expert in the industry. And I'm curious from your perspective, what are some like some warning signs of things you might be seeing happening in an office that like, you know, that it's like, oh, these guys might not make it.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
You know, what's the difference between an office you go into where the vibe's off, the numbers are going down, versus you walk into an office and like, it's like, oh, these guys are going to go win the cup.
Yeah,
like,
totally. Absolutely. And I've had offices win the cup, and I've had offices fizzle out that did great in the start and don't finish strong at all. And I think it comes down to like truly like three different things just off the top of my head. Number one, when I start to smell or see that people are like accepting not selling as okay, that's a problem. Again, this applies to any industry. And I know not everyone's selling Vivint, but whatever product or service you're in, industry you're in, you need to believe in it so much that any person, any logical human being, if I have 7 to 8 hours a day, I can talk to these individuals and convince them the product service is good enough that someone's going to buy. And so when I start to see people go, well, I bageled yesterday, probably bagel today.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to bagel tomorrow. That's number one. If you start accepting bagels as okay, that's a problem. It's never okay. Number two, I see people start kind of resting on their laurels. Like, oh, dude, last year I was the man. Oh, last week I had a hell of a week. Like, we don't care. The industry of door-to-door sales is a brutal beast. And it's one where you have to redefine yourself every day. And it's part of the reason I love it. Because no matter how sick you were today, you wake up tomorrow and guess what? We're all back at zero.
Back at zero. Everybody.
Everyone's back at zero. The best guy in the industry, brand new rookie. We're all at zero, and you have to redefine yourself. And then finally, the third thing is like when I see people justifying their behavior or the results, I should say, due to someone else on their side.
Yeah.
Well, my manager didn't sell today, so it's okay. I didn't. Well, my car group leader. It's like, buddy, it doesn't matter what anyone else does. In your Alchemy summit that I talked at, I put up that picture of Michael Phelps. It's one of my favorite pictures because you look at Michael Phelps winning gold, swimming, and you look at where his eyes are focused, and it's dead ahead. And then in that same picture, there's some guy, and God bless him, he trained his whole life for that moment, but none of us will ever know his name, and none of us will ever care about his name because he didn't win. But if you look at where that guy's eyes are, the second place Olympian, he's looking at Michael Phelps. And the quote is, winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. And so when you start to justify your behavior and your results based on someone else to your side or above you or whatever, those are, I wouldn't even say yellow flags. Those are red flags. So if I see people, hey, you're accepting bagel, it's never okay to bagel. Now, I'm not telling you to abuse yourself and talk down to yourself, but like adjust and wake up the next morning. Don't rest on what you've done before, and don't justify behavior based on yourselves. Focus on winning, focus on dominating, and that's how your name will be remembered.
Yeah, and I think it's just raising the standard, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, you have to have, you know, I always tell this to people I work with one-on-one. truly in my belief that the difference between, talking alarm accounts here, the difference between a 150 account rep and a 250 account rep, 100% mindset and standards,
Totally.
right? Skill
Couldn't
set's
agree more.
probably the same,
Totally.
but the 250 account rep has a standard of I work all the hours, I never bagel, I'm positive, I bring good energy, I don't complain, right? I don't think about yesterday, I don't get too caught up in the future, and I'm actually, it really is, it's a practice in deep presence.
Yeah.
Like, I am here today, I'm going to give my best effort today. And the 150 count rep gets caught in, is like, oh, I had a great week last week, so I can pull back, or gets overwhelmed and stressed about, their future, and they can blame the area or their manager, and they probably have exactly the same skill set.
Totally.
And that jump is all internal.
It's all mindset. I've said, it's crazy you say that. And this is, you get guys, high performers from any industry, and a lot of times enough time passes and we're going to have the same beliefs, even though we've never discussed it. But I've said for my whole career, it's like anyone can be a 200 account sales rep, in my opinion. Anyone can be, because it comes down to work ethic. But if you want to go from 200 to 300, you got to crack a little bit up here. There has to be a mental shift. And I think it's really powerful to teach people that. A lot of times, all I do now in my career is I'm not like selling, but I'm always out working and having guys shadow me and showing them. And so I show them, look, remember how you went 7 hours yesterday and you talked to like 3 people and no one was answering the door? You just watched me do it. It happens to me too. But the mental game I'm playing is I know every no I get, every no answer, every slam door in the face, I'm just that much closer to a yes. And I trust that, and my mind knows it. And those people who haven't hit those levels yet just haven't had the experience to believe it. So seeing me struggle and watching me get my teeth kicked in or doors slammed in my face, they realize, oh, it happens to everyone. I can't blame the area or blame the justification or whatever. I just got to keep working and believe.
Yeah, I remember when towards the tail end of my Vivint career, when I was doing a lot of sales training. So I was actually popping around to offices all across the country. And my goal was, when I would go out and knock with, I'd go talk to a manager. I'm like, hey, who's struggling? Who's kind of, who's ready to pop off? Take him with me for a day. My goal, when they would come out and knock with me, wasn't necessarily to show them a deal, but I wanted to show them how to work.
Yeah, totally.
And like, there'd be the end of the day and these guys would be exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't have this was before segues, bro.
I'm trying to knock with guys on segues. I'm like, I should have had this years ago.
I'm like, dang, segue would be money. But I was like straight up foot soldier all the way. Park my car. I'm not going back to my car, foot soldier. And I'm like, what a lot of reps don't realize, it's not time on the doors. It's the intentionality of the time on the doors.
Absolutely.
Of like actually knocking, the acronym I share a lot in my coaching group is what I call PACE. And what is PACE? PACE is, you got to knock with power. Like, I'm supposed to be here. I'm the authority figure, right? A, authority, right? Really taking control of the conversation. C, confidence, a lot of body language, tonality of voice, making eye contact. And E is energy. And the energy that I think is the most helpful for people to knock is what I call upbeat, positive, easy to work with.
Love that.
I'm upbeat, positive, easy to work with, really good confidence. I'm the authority figure, and I'm knocking with power rather than passively.
Yeah.
And so it's not just knowing your pitch, knowing your script, right? Working the hours. It's knocking with that intentionality, which I think is kind of an unlock to get to that next level.
Doug, couldn't be more right. There is a massive difference. Here's the problem. This is something I've been teaching my guys for years. There's a massive difference between working hard door to door and moving hard door to door. And it all comes down to what you said, intentionality. I have guys hit me up every day. Jay Lou, I worked so hard, 20,000 steps. I knocked 1,000 doors, whatever. And I go, that's fine that you're checking the boxes on all these things that make it look like you're working hard. But in reality, what I'm seeing is you're just moving really hard.
Yeah.
Working hard comes down to the mindset. Are you deliberate? Are you intentional? Are you knocking every door with the intent to sell that customer? And if they don't want it, are you then willing to sift quick enough to move away? And so it's like you can move really hard door to door and get your steps in and get real sweaty and trick yourself into thinking you're working hard. But the hard work really comes from the intentionality behind it, and I love that.
Totally. On that, and I share this when I go out and speak, that there's actually 2 thought experiments I share with people to help you like actually get clear on what the intentionality is. And the first one is when I'm talking to a group, I'm like, hey, how would you knock if the entire company was watching you on a live stream?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like, you'd probably change the way you knock. And the second one is let's say, the CEO of your company called you and said, hey, you won the raffle today in the headquarters. For every same day sale you get today, there's a $10,000 bonus, right? how would that change your interactions on the door? How would your conviction change, your tonality, your voice, and I'm like, those are just really good frameworks to really lock in the intentionality.
And not only that, if the people listening, if they don't believe you, put it to the test. I have done this, and sometimes it's the vision of our people that they lose. But I've done that with reps a lot of times. They're struggling for money, so they get a little desperate. They get a little crackhead closey.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll do is I'll do an experiment. I don't do this all the time, but I'll do it. I'll go, hey, look, I'm going to do you an incentive right now. I want you to go out and knock every door you sell that you can same-day install. I'm going to Venmo you $100 on the spot the moment it happens. And again, I'm betting on that. And every single time I do that, it takes a rep that bageled the last week and they sell 2 or 3 that day. Why? Because it's more intentional. They realize, ooh, the prize is coming quicker. I don't have to wait all the way till next Friday. I need cash now. And the same thing you said. Why do we have to sometimes force ourselves into emergency situations where we're desperate when we can just start from the top and say, my life's a movie. It's a documentary and I'm being filmed and watched. Act accordingly. So beautiful.
Yeah, and it really is. I think intentionality is something really important just in life, and it seems like you're very intentional. Another thing that I saw on your Instagram that I really appreciated is you went and visited a team, and I noticed you incentivized very intentionally. You incentivized to appreciate one of the techs.
Yeah,
you got him a new pair of shoes. Talk to me a little bit more about like taking care of those bad people.
If I could give any sales manager a hack, it's to get in a great relationship with the people that make your job possible. I think a lot of times in door-to-door sales, we think we're these big, bad sales reps with our big, cool trucks and our nice shoes and whatever. But in reality, there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen. And for one, I have a great relationship with so many people at our corporate department at Vivint. I invite them over. I cook for them. I want them in my home. I want them to feel my love because I know in order to do my job properly at the scale I need to have, and it's not, I don't want it to look manipulative or like I'm trying to get favors. I want real, authentic, genuine relationships with people in my life. I met Britt Ross, my lead tech, in 2020. He became my lead tech. So it's half a decade we've been working together. And I knew from our first blitz together, I said, I can't lose this guy. He's too good. We work too well together. And so I have, every time we do an incentive trip, I make sure there's something for the techs. We do a kickoff ceremony. We do a dinner. We do an award ceremony. I want to recognize and take care of my techs. And that particular pair of shoes, I had put up a Memorial Day incentive for my region and said, hey, anyone who sells the most on Memorial Day, we're going to buy this pair of Travis Scotts. And I think he sent a DM just kind of joking like, I'm size 12, ha, ha, ha. And in my mind, like, oh, yeah, that's fun. And a lot of these sales rep thinks like techs are just like almost like obstacles in the way. Oh, they ruined my jobs. But it's like, no. I can't hit my goals. Just like my wife. If my wife's not bought in, my work wife, which is my OM, my office, manager, needs to be bought in. So it's like, what is it to me? A couple $100 to get my tech a pair of shoes. And we know a lot of times the techs don't get incentivized as well. So I am always trying to take care of the people that make sure that my job and my vision can take place. So yeah, I'm intentional with not only my sales reps, with my relationships with people at corporate, with my bosses, with my employees, but also with the people I work side by side with, my partners. And so that's big for me. I want authentic, real relationships. I'm over fake stuff.
Yeah, it was super cool to watch that video. I was really inspired by it too. And it actually inspired me to be like, oh, who else in my life can I go give some love to?
Well, no, Doug, you do that though. I remember, to give you props. I loved what you did in Alchemy. Like obviously, this is kind of a grassroots organization. You're building it up, but you had a bunch of big speakers. And I remember getting a thank you note from you with a $100 bill inside. And it said, here's your pay for today's event. Please give it to someone else. And I was like, hell yeah, I love this because it's no skin off my back to get in front of some young, hungry hustlers. It fires me up. I want to share my secrets. I'm here for it. And then to have you running this organization give me whatever it is. It could be $1, it could be $1,000, and then say, give it to someone in need. I remember I walked out of Alchemy. There was a couple out there buying some pizza at the pizza truck. I knew they were rookies, and I said, hey, skip the pizza truck, go somewhere nice, and I love that. So you are doing that, and I appreciate the inspiration you've given me.
Yeah, thanks, brother. And I think, it really is this mentality of, Tony Robbins talks about it, the secret to living is giving. And that's why I love this industry so much, because you have an opportunity to not only give someone an opportunity, but you can also give them the skills to sell and become economically self-reliant. And you can give them an opportunity to lead. And at the same time, you throw them in a gauntlet where their like deepest insecurities are going to get exposed. Right.
Absolutely,
So
yep.
I truly believe that, and I can't remember who said it. I don't want to give him the right credit. It might have been Christian Calabuso at Sunrun, but he said, door-to-door sales is a personal development program with a compensation plan attached. And I love it. And so it's been really inspiring to see you not only go out and create a bigger region and grow your team in a region, but also you've developed a lot of leaders.
Which is why I get up in the morning, to be frank with you. Like, this job is crazy because, hard truth, sometimes you got to say the ugly things out loud. We start this job very selfishly. We start this job to make the money, to get the girls, to get the cars, to get the clothes, whatever. It's a very inward-focused job. And I think a lot of guys wash out of the industry before they see it's almost like they're in a dark room, and you have to get to a certain point where you realize, oh my gosh, I can not only light up this room, I can light up the whole building, I can light up the whole city. And for me, I started out, it's like, dude, how do I make it so I make enough money so I don't have to donate plasma to take my wife out on
I donated plasma.
Most of the guys in the city, they know. And so all of us have this origin story. So it was very selfish. I need to make a ton of money to pay for my school, to get out of debt, to do whatever. Then it comes a point where you start making the money. And I'm talking real money where you're like, oh, what's going on? Then you start seeing it happen in the same thing that changed me where before I started Vivint, I was donating plasma to take my wife to Sizzler so we could get all-you-could-eat shrimp for as long as they'd let us stay there because that was a luxury meal to us. Now I'm taking people who are homeless. Every one of my rookies the last 3 years in a row, they have a story. The first year, he was totally homeless. Goes out and makes six figures. The next year, Noor Sanif, he was, I believe, on this couch a couple weeks ago, thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. Now look at him. Our rookie this year, it's like, dude, I had negative money in my bank account, and look at me now. And so for me, it's not about me at all. The money comes, and it's a positive externality of the energy and effort I put into the universe. And what I do see happen is that same success story that took me kind of from rags to riches is happening in so many others. And that is what's the beauty of this job. It starts out self-centered. It starts out selfish, but now all I care about is trying to do what's happened to me for as many people as are willing to plug into my system.
Truly. Yeah, and just sharing that wealth, man. You've done, you're world-class at it, top 1%.
Thank you.
And I'm curious from your perspective, because there's a lot of people listening to this are kind of going through a phase where they want to step into leadership.
Yeah.
And part of that is you got to become a really good recruiter.
Yeah.
And one thing that I don't think is talked about enough is that recruiting is a skill set, just like selling is a skill set.
Yeah.
However, for whatever reason, getting rejected in recruiting stings more than getting rejected on the doors, right? You got to knock a door, not interested. It's like, oh yeah, okay, no big deal, right? But for whatever reason, you like go out and try and recruit your friend or your buddy, and they're like, yeah, not for me, and you're just like, it's really, it's painful. So I'm curious from your perspective, what are some of like your key mechanisms or levers you pull or techniques that you use to really recruit and really expand your business?
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. Like, it's the same thing when I have guys role-playing correlation. It's like my best sales reps start fumbling because they care so much about what their contemporaries and peers think of them. When you go out on the doors, it's strangers you'll never see again. Same thing in recruiting. It's like, oh, I don't want to get rejected by people who are my same age and demographic and life situation. But for me, I hear this all the time. J. Lou, how do I recruit? What do I need to do? I can't wait till September, October so I can start recruiting. I have a really, really important rule when it comes to selling. And I'll never sell something that I don't believe in and wouldn't use myself. So I have to have a product that I believe in. And so when people start to get the carriage in front of the horses a little bit, what do I do about recruiting in October, November? I say the way you start recruiting is you do it right now. And you start to build your product and your story. And even if you have 0 recruits, and it's, June 23rd today, 0 recruits. Well, you need to have a product that you believe in and a story you can tell. So how can you recruit mid-June when you're just selling doors and not talking to your contemporaries? Well, you go do crazy things and hit big numbers and have a product where you can sit down with your contemporaries and your peers and say, I'm not telling you this because my manager told me his manager made this. I'm telling you this because I've lived it and I did it. Recruiting starts in the summer, and the story you build is what you will sit down and the product you will present to the people you try to recruit. And if you have a crappy summer, for lack of a better word, you're probably not going to have as hot of an off season because you're selling a subpar product.
Right.
That's why you have to go all in right now, because this will be the product you present to your client base come October, November, December recruiting season.
Yeah, and it really is my main message with Alchemy, I say, is sales is a transfer of energy, right?
Mm.
We all know when's the best time to sell an account? Right after
Right
you
after you
sold
sell it.
one, you're
Yep.
motivated, you're inspired, you're feeling good. Well, recruiting is also a transfer of energy, right? And whoever has the most conviction is going to win this recruiting battle. And what you're recruiting to is you're recruiting to an experience.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, you have to be able to throw down and sell and lead. You also have to, taking a step back, a lot of the guys I work with, I tell them like that actually in May, the early part of the summer, what your goal is. If you're out in an office and you got a couple of guys, I said in May, what the goal is. Number one isn't to get your guys selling, which might be controversial. I think that's number two. I think the number one goal is to give your rookies a good experience.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
just, hey, we're a unit. We're creating culture. I got your back. We're going to have fun. We're also going to work hard. We're going to have really high standards. We're going to be in peak state, right? I think that's actually more important than getting them to sell really early, because now you're creating an experience and you're a unit and you're becoming a culture. And one thing I've noticed, because I've visited, some of your teams and I've been to other teams, there's a different feel in your guys' group. And you guys have done a really good job of creating culture. And so maybe for someone listening that's like, okay, I'm ready to take this jump, I'm ready to go to the next level, how does one create culture in an office?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I mean, we could spend an entire podcast talking about it, but I think it all goes back to authenticity. Your people need to know who you are and what you stand for, as cheesy as that sounds. In 2020, The Last Dance with Michael Jordan came out.
So good.
And that you'll never forget. It still gives me chills to this day. I think it's like episode 3 or 4. It's like the last scene where Michael gets a little emotional and he says, I got hard on my people and I came down on them. And sometimes they said I'm a this or that or whatever. I'm too tough. But it's because they knew I would never ask them to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. So when it comes to culture, it is 100% trickle down from the top. If I ask my guys, hey, we're going to knock 12-hour days for 10 days in a row during the cup, it's not because I'm some slave driver behind a desk whipping my whip and counting my checks. It's because I'm out there doing it and I've done it. If I ask them to sell 10 in a day during a competition, it's not because I'm some big out-of-touch regional. It's because I did it. It's because I've done it. And so when I come at my people and I tell them, hey, we're building a culture of winners, I know how to win. I've done it on my own. Just take away all the building and just say one-on-one, me versus the doors, anything I ask you to do, it's because I've done it and they know it. And all my trainings are based around stories, and they call them the J-Lou's war stories. But I tell stories to train so I can show them, when I sit you down and I hold you to a higher standard than you even hold yourself to, it's because number one, I see your potential. Number two, I've done it myself. And with that culture, they feel the authentic nature of it. They feel the realness. They go, wow, this is real. And in the industry where, I mean, we have posts going viral right now where it's like, oh, people in this industry don't care about you unless you're making them money, which I couldn't disagree with more. I have a lot of people that have worked with me for years that have left that are still my best friends, that I still talk to, that I still go catch lunch with. I think how you leave matters, and that's important, right? But regardless, I truly care about these people. I'm looking at my teams and my regions, and I would have never crossed paths with any of these people at it, no matter what, if not for this job. And I'm so grateful that my life is blessed to be around people and cultures and demographics and life stories that I would have never run into otherwise. And they feel my belief and love for them. And that trickles down into like, okay, let's go to war, because he's done it, we're doing it, and we all do it together. So it almost starts at the top. I think as much as leaders like think they get to a point where they can kind of let off the gas, it's like, no, if anything, you got to push down on the gas more. Your duties just change.
Yeah, and it's this whatever it takes mentality, right? It's just like I'm all in. You can count on me. I'm going to war with you. And I would actually encourage you to share I would love to hear the Girl Scout cookie story.
Yeah, no, it's a great one.
Because that's like this. It's basically what you're talking about. It's like I'm all in, whatever it takes. I'm here to serve, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, the Girl Scout cookie. It's funny. I remember when our little reel that we did for Alchemy went a little viral. I'll never forget the comment section. It's like
so funny
things that never happened for 500. I'm like, dude, I got receipts. Like, I'm not gonna make this up, but. It was a really cool day. I was in Fresno, California. It was kind of I was cutting my teeth as far as building my legacy. I had sold 300 the year before. I was on I did 300 that year as well. And I'll be honest, I'm not a big no soliciting guy. I'm just not that guy. I don't know. My parents like really harped in on like being socially like aware and present. So when I see no soliciting signs, all my social cues, like they kind of go. I'll push through it a lot of times, but I don't love it. And I remember walking up to this house, beautiful house in the corner, had this nice competitor sign that that particular year, they had a color that I was just like, oh, we called it the juicy sign. And I was walking up the doorway to knock it. And I saw that damn sign that, no soliciting. We already know who we're voting for. We've already found Jesus. Unless you're selling Thin Mints, get lost. So I had this moment where it was like this freeze, where I looked at that sign and I said, I can knock on this door and I can get dumped on and I can get yelled at and she's going to point at it. Can you not read? Blah, blah, blah. Or there's a CVS 2 minutes away and my car's right there. It's my first door of the day. I haven't even knocked. I'm early. Why don't I just run over and grab a box? So I hopped in my car, literally walked away from that door, hopped in my car, went to CVS, grabbed a pack of Thin Mints. It wasn't even Thin Mints. It was the off-brand. It was Mint Thins.
Yeah.
You can see in the picture. And I walk up to the door, Thin Mints behind my back, and I knock on it. And I remember she opened that door. And as soon as she cracked, she went from my shoes to my lanyard to my iPad to my face. And there was venom in her eyes. And I see her kind of getting her finger ready to point at the sign, saying, can't you read? Like this slow motion moment. But before she could even finish it, I said, I saw your sign. I got some Thin Mints. And if you buy a pack right now, I can get you a free doorbell camera. And I watched this moment from her, can't you read? And her demeanor changed. And she started to smile and she goes, honey, come here now. And her husband comes to the door. He's so impressed. They're laughing. We're joking. We're popping open the Thin Mints. We sell it. She posts me on Facebook. It was a great moment where I ended up pulling multiple referrals from that one box of $2.67 Mint Thins. But it wouldn't have happened if I didn't just see that opportunity. And it's not don't take this message as like, oh, J. Lou says don't knock, no soliciting. It's not that at all. Do whatever works for you. But for me, it said, I'm uncomfortable in this situation. I can make it a little fun. Worst case scenario, let's do best case, worst case. Worst case, I spend 7 minutes going from her house to CVS and back, and I wasted 7 minutes and $2.67. Best case scenario, this works. I pull a sale, and now I have a story that I tell my region every single year. And every year I have more guys going and buying Thin Mints and going out and trying it. Sometimes it doesn't work and it backfires horribly, and sometimes it works. But I always say I make decisions on the doors with the intent that I say, if this is success, worst case scenario, what's the worst thing that could happen? Worst thing, they say no, they slam the door. Good. Best case scenario, I now have a story that I can tell my region, I didn't have a region at the time, my future region or my posterity in the industry and say, again, you can do it. I've done it. And it's about making the job fun. I had fun with that sale. I keep that Facebook post screenshot that she put of me walking up with Thin Mints as a relic of a career well spent. And that's why I continue to train on it, because you never know those little decisions you make and that intuition you listen to, the success and results they'll yield.
I mean, it's just such a testament to your authenticity, right? Like it didn't feel like you were doing that to manipulate her, right? It was just like, oh, what a fun opportunity.
She would have got the Thin Mints whether she bought it or not.
Yeah.
I would have, I was just trying to have fun with you, girl. Here's the box. We'll catch you. I'll be in the neighborhood if you change it.
Well, I think it's important to highlight that it's like when we talk about sales as a transfer vendor, that's what I'm talking about. It's like you're bringing in a fun, playful, expansive, low stakes, like, oh, this will be a good memory, whatever.
Yeah.
And because it was so authentic is why it worked.
Yeah.
And because it's just who you are.
But that's the thing, Doug. We are in a society of a lot of fakeness. Social media is a farce. We only see the good. Everyone wants to post about how, and it's like I am in my mid-30s. I turned 34 this year, and I'm exhausted with fakeness. I want real, authentic relationship and love. I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. A lot of people might not like my training style or how I tell stories or whatever, or even how I handle my social media and my teams. That's okay. We might not be meant to cross paths, but I am who I am. And the people that are on that same vibrational frequency as me and align and resonate will find each other. And I know that. And so I am on a mission in my 30s. I think in my 20s, you kind of try to find yourself and be things you're not. And like that goes back to even me choosing door to door as a career. That was a big moment for me where I had to like turn my back on what I thought or this like fake idea of who I was supposed to be. And I'm here for authenticity. That's all I want in life.
Yeah. And because that means it's a good time to transition, because one thing I do want to ask you is you're big into grilling, right? You got your Traegers, right? You post some of the stuff you post.
Thank you.
So full transparency, I've got a group chat that's my siblings.
Yeah.
And it's called Food Porn. And it's just like all really good food Instagram.
Get me in that group chat,
Bro,
man. I'm all
you have been. A couple of your posts I've sent in,
Oh yeah, thank you.
And so, it's really inspiring. So actually a question I have for you is like, how important is it for you to have a hobby that you're fired up and passionate about that has nothing to do with sales or recruiting or money?
Yeah. I would say it is the most important thing. The most important thing. And I'll tell you why. Because again, this is, who knows who we're going to give credit to. We have so many great mentors in the industry. I think it's Casey Baugh who said it at one point or another, where he's like, we get lied to our whole lives and say, don't chase the money, chase what you're passionate about. When in reality, that sounds nice on the Hallmark Channel.
They're really hard to do.
But it's hard to do. And what you need to do is you find the money and then set yourself up in a position where you can then use that money to follow your passions. And to be honest with you, Doug, I'm not a businessman. I graduated from BYU's Marriott School of Management as a business major. I was accepted to go get my MBA at the University of Washington for more business. But I am an artist at heart. I'm a musician. My mom's a music teacher. I played drums my whole life. I was into film. I did film festivals and movies, and I loved acting. I love the arts. And if I truly followed what I wanted to be, I would be an artist. But unfortunately, I got married quick. We had kids even quicker, right? And sometimes the art doesn't pay the bills as quickly. And so what has been so cool about this job is I did chase the money a little bit. I said, let's find some money. And then I started to make that money. And what it did is it opened up so much in my life to say, what else am I passionate about? And I was able to take this idea of like creation and artistry. And I love food. I'm a food porn addict myself, a big foodie. And I said, can I start doing this at home? And on these, I don't even call them off seasons. In these pre-seasons, when I wasn't traveling as much and I wasn't going out on summer trips, I was like, hey, I'm home for the week. Let's go buy a bunch of different types of meats and learn how to grill them, learn how to cook them, and let's expand. And it just started to grow and grow. And I was able to feed this part of my soul that wanted so desperately to escape. It's like I'm an artist trapped in the business world. And I'm damn good at business. Like, for the record, I am good at business. But if you say, Jordan, what do you want to do with your life? It's like, I was in, me and my wife were in the Wizard of Oz in high school our senior year. She was Dorothy. I was the Cowardly Lion. Like, I love the arts. And so it gives me so much more to work for when I'm out there grinding and getting dunked on and doors slammed in my face and people swearing at me and the rain coming down. I know what I'm working for, and it's my passions are waiting for me on the other side of this sacrifice. And now I've created a system. And I mean, again, small following, big following, whatever we got, different platforms, different successes. But I'm doing something I love that even though I am starting to see some financial rewards from my hobby, I couldn't care less because I'm doing what I love. And so I think sometimes we lose our identity in this job, and the money and the accolades and the respect goes to our head, and we think that's what life's about. But what life's about is about the people you love, spending time with them, making memories, and there is no better place to do that than around the kitchen table over a home-cooked meal, and that's my love language. I express my love to you. If I love you, if I respect you, I might not say it, I might not be like, Doug, hey, dude, I really think you're awesome, this is what I love. Be like, Doug, come over, let me cook you a steak, because that is how I'm able to express. So going back to your original question, if it's all sales all the time, nonstop, 24/7, that's all you're ingesting, unfortunately, you're probably going to burn out because it's just, you're running too much. There's too much pressure on you to do this, that. And when things start going bad, your whole identity starts to crumble. Where if everything fell apart at Vivint, it almost feels like, yes, that is a huge part of who I am, but I haven't lost who I really am and my purpose and my passions. And so I would challenge everyone out there that even if you're if you're a regional making great money and you have the liberty to pursue your passions, or you're a brand new rookie, I would say you need to make sure you put yourself in a position where you can make the money, so that you can, as you go through the beginning parts of this job where you can push and grind and kind of white knuckle through it. When you get to a point where it's like, I want to burn out, you don't have to, because you have all these other things that give you joy and fulfillment and a sense of identity.
Yeah, well, and one thing I mean, that was so beautifully said.
Thank you.
Like incredibly said. But you can tell on it's four 4 grills and 4 girls. Right?
Yeah, so I got 4 daughters.
Yeah.
And then every time I got a daughter, I'd tell my wife, let's go get another grill. So I call it 4 grills, 4 girls, and it's but I mean, I probably have like 7 grills now. Who knows? I got a bunch. But either way, it's just the idea of like I'm using cooking to create memories and food and experiences for.
And the posts are amazing. Like the quality and every time you're posting stuff, I'm like, you did that tiki masala one recently. And I was like,
that's the good. Wait till you see the one I popped it on TikTok right now. I usually drop on TikTok, but I did one last night that I'm pretty proud of. We'll see.
I just see how it is. But you can tell that like because you do the voiceover and you have the whole experience, right? That like you can hear it that like this genuinely fires you up.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it lights you up.
Like if you talk to me about sales, you'll see some energy. But we start chopping it up about restaurants and recipes, you're gonna see me like feet off the ground like a little girl at a slumber party. We're gonna be chatting.
There's some energy moving.
I get excited about that stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that everyone has something outside of the doors that lights them up.
Absolutely.
Because that experience of getting lit up is actually going to charge and influence your sales performance. And to your point, I look back at my career and I know there's so much talk like, oh, Doug was so great, that was so amazing, but a lot of people don't talk about 2016, 2017 where I crashed hard. Like I did 300 accounts a year, and then the next year I did like 110.
Damn, yeah,
because I just completely burnt out.
Yeah.
Because Vivint was my entire life. I wasn't in a romantic relationship. It's all I thought about 24/7, 365. And so when the boat started to shake a little bit, I was on path to go do Vivint Internet, and that was exciting. And then they got rug pulled last minute.
Yep.
And so my whole identity crashed.
Yeah.
And I, had to pull myself out of that. And, had one down year, but it was really hard, and it was like devastating because I didn't have anything else.
Yeah.
And now as I navigate my life moving forward, it's like I have so many other hobbies. Like one thing people don't know about me, but like I'm a total nerd and I collect basketball cards.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So like I'm literally was on the way down here. I'm like, oh, on my way back, I can stop at the card shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm collecting, Anthony Edwards and Wembanyama right now and stuff. So, but it's like, I'm glad I have that outlet that has nothing to do with sales or personal development or growth or spirituality.
Yeah.
And it's just like my one thing. And what's good news for you is I just got a Traeger.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been seeing you every time. You'll see if I follow people and they post food content, I'll swipe up, subscribe. Yeah. I'm in. So I've been seeing it, and I got some. We're gonna get to it. I'm gonna have you over. I know we've talked about it in Stay School. We needed this moment. We're gonna get you ripping on that.
I got a tri-tip, and coming in, so I'm gonna start. We're gonna get
underrated cut, man. You're gonna love that.
Yeah.
But on your point, I actually started this training last year. Speaking of all this identity, and it's a staple. It's about a month out. You got to wait till the real dog days of July.
Yeah.
But what I like to do with my reps around this time of year is I like to go to their Instagrams. And I go deep, baby. I start scrolling as far back. Some of these Gen Zers delete all their stuff, so they're super mysterious, right?
I love that.
I know.
Literally, there was this kid who followed me today as one post.
One post. I'm like, bro, come on, bro. I can't get. But I love to go in there, and I like to find the oldest, most random picture. Like I'll find one of my female sales reps. It was her at her high school soccer championship, and I'll take that picture. I'll screenshot it. Found another guy. He was skiing down a mountain back in 2015. Take a screenshot of that. I find another guy fishing, and I'll do a training, and it's not about sales, and it's about them. And I say, I stalked all of you because I want to know when the lights aren't on you, when you're not in the car group, when we're not talking about sales, what makes you you. And I want you to remember in these dark days of summer when it's all about commissions and numbers and goals, you still are who you are, and you still have hopes and dreams and ambitions, and you're still a person. And unfortunately, this job, here's an ugly truth about this job. People dehumanize you because you knock on the door and you catch them at a bad time, and they think this pesky door-to-door guy, and they forget this guy's a dad. He's a loving husband. He loves to cook. He loves the arts. He likes to play music. They forget everything that in your core makes you you. And sometimes you listen to that and you see how they treat you and you start to forget who you are. So I like to remind them and say mid-July, hey, I know who you really are. And it's not all sales. Sales are important. Like I said, it will give you enough money to pursue those passions. But never forget who you really are and allow this job to be a means to allow you to express yourself more fully in an authentic way.
What a mic drop. Yeah, it reminds me, I would tell guys all the time too, because, you're July, August, like
It's a dark time, man.
It's dark.
It's getting dark right now.
It's dark.
I got a do not disturb on. I'm sure we're gonna have to do some therapy calls on the drive home. What's new?
Hey, I'm the busiest. You know, I'm one-on-one coach for door-to-door salespeople. My July and August, I'm booked out like 3 weeks in advance.
So I do. I appreciate you. So even some of my reps, I'll miss a call and I'll call him back. I'm on with Doug. I'm like, all right, I don't love it, but I love Doug, so I know he'll take care of it. So I'll call you later. So I know how you're doing. We appreciate that work.
Hey, I love it. I love it. And it's just it's the ultimate container for growth, man. And I just really appreciate everything you're doing for the industry, not just for yourself and your guys, but just like the vibe you bring. It's good energy. It's optimistic. It's really encouraging people. At the end of the day, you're just encouraging people to be the healthiest, happiest, best version of themselves.
And we forget that in this job. It's a constant battle of, who you working for, and what's your marketing deal, and like all this weird like competitive stuff. And it's like, dude, if you're in the industry, I respect you. If you're doing it the right way, I respect you, because I know what it takes to be successful in door to door, whether you're in pest control, solar, internets, whatever it may be, alarms. I got mad respect for you. And I don't really buy in. I've always said there's aspects of this industry that I love, aspects I hate. I like to be in the industry, not of it. And so I'm here for everyone. I love bumping into random dudes that plunge up by my house and chatting with them about pest control and sharing best practices. And it's like, it's not always this cutthroat kill or be killed, although sometimes we forget that. It's like we can boo each other up. And what you've done with Alchemy, again, even myself, I've been skeptical at times, like, what are the intents behind this? But what it's about is taking people that are trying to better themselves, trying to become the best versions of themselves, and then creating an environment where some people need that group thinking mentality and help and groups. And so I respect what you're doing too. Seriously, it's awesome.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you being on the show, man. It's
sure.
inspiring, and I'm excited. It seems like, there's some of your best music is ahead of you, brother.
Hey, we got a lot coming down the pike, so appreciate you.
Big love, brother.
Thank you.